Mortal Kombat is a franchise that literally changed the game. With its digitized avatars and graphic violence and blood, it was the subject of much controversy in the early 1990s and led to the ESRB game rating that everybody knows about today. Even with all that, the game went on to become one of the most successful fighting games of all time, going from arcade to consoles and what we're looking at today. Yes, we're looking at Mortal Kombat on MS-DOS. But while Street Fighter failed, Mortal Kombat shows that a fighting game on the platform can be done right. This is Mortal Kombat, gonna DOS it up. Much like with Street Fighter, it took me a while to figure out the controls on this game, considering I'm playing it on DOS box without a manual or anything. But this game actually lets you map out the controller, while Street Fighter just lets you at the mercy of the number pad keys. So let's dive in. Right out of the gate, look at it. Just look at it. While Street Fighter physical was downright laughable, Mortal Kombat looks like a respectable port of the popular arcade fighter. It looks just as good as MK on Genesis or the Super Nintendo. It has a character select screen like the other games, and everyone is here. Kano, Raiden, Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and my personal favorite, Sonya Blade. You go down your Mortal Kombat tower and fight the other fighters until you get to the endurance levels, and the final bosses in Go and Shang Tsung. And the controls are a lot more responsive than in Street Fighter. The movements were fluid, and I felt like I actually had a fighting chance in this game. I wasn't any good at it, and much like the console version, despite putting it on very easy, I still pretty much got my ass kicked. But it didn't feel impossible this time. When I messed up, it was because I messed up and not because of clunky controls and lousy hit detection. That said, it was still somewhat laggy, but I had no way of knowing if that was the game or just the site or even my computer, so I'm not knocking off points for that. And another thing I noticed is that while Super Nintendo heavily censored this entry and the Genesis required a code of sorts, the DOS version has all the blood and violence that made the original game so popular. They didn't censor it or force you to put in a code. The fatalities are also there, though I can't imagine how much harder they are to input with a keyboard instead of a controller, but that's neither here nor there. Now, the story of the first Mortal Kombat game is iconic in gaming circles. The tournament is hosted by Outworld, who has to win 10 tournaments in a row for the Emperor Shao Kahn to defeat Earthrealm. Earthrealm champions come to the tournament to defend the realm and beat Outworld champion Gold. But each fighter has their own reason for being there. Liu Kang is literally the chosen one representing the Temple of Light. Sonya is there to shut down Kano. Raiden was invited by Shang Tsung himself. Johnny Cage is there to prove he's not a fake. Sub-Zero is there to assassinate Shang Tsung, and Scorpion wants to kill Sub-Zero to defend his family and clan. One point against it is that, like Street Fighter, doesn't seem to have music, but you can change what sound output you want in the setting, so maybe I should show the one setting. Also, the stages all look nice even for being on DOS. They're not as detailed close as the arcade or even the console version, but for what it is on the limited hardware, it's pretty well designed and transport you into the world of gritty fantasy reality. So as for my overall DOS, while I'm just no good at fighting games on a computer, I have to say that Mortal Kombat on MS-DOS is the correct way to put a fighting game onto the platform. The graphics, character sprites, set pieces and controls are all amazing, and it's a huge bonus that you can set the controls of your character yourself. If you're at all curious about it, I recommend looking up DOS box and playing this. It's worth checking out. The question for the comments today is, should Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis have censored the original Mortal Kombat? That's it for this video, and as always, I will see you next time.